Stefanie Brazile is with us from 501 Life magazine. She's here to talk about the March issue of the magazine. It's the Home and Garden issue. And right there on the cover, we've got a couple here on the table, and then we'll show it on the screen. We've got dogs, we've got pets. Tell me about what's on the cover of the magazine.
This is our annual Home and Garden issue. I think it's one of the most beautiful magazines that we publish each year because we pack it full of lots of photos from inside homes and also gardens, of course. And so, yes, on the cover, there's a couple of pups on there because so many people have dogs in the home now. And so, and I know you do.
We do. We have our 2 dogs in the house, and so I'm very interested in this. So help me with this. The local interior designer, who is it that's helping people like me?
Donna Benton, and there are some really good tips in the magazine for people like you and so many others.
Yeah.
Like when you go to replace flooring, she always asks, what color is your dog? Because let's kind of match that so we don't see the shed as much.
Yep.
And also, like on the cover, as our viewers are seeing, that dog is reddish brown, and it's a leather sofa that's reddish brown.
Okay.
So she just took care of it right there.
Yeah.
But she also recommends upholstered pieces in dog-friendly performance fabrics.
Okay.
So there are actually fabrics now that you can use that are going to protect your furniture longer from their claws and things they don't even mean to do.
All right, well, this is good. I'll be interested to read more about that. The magazine collaborates with some other local businesses to host an annual art contest. Who's eligible to compete for this? The daffodils, they are a-bloomin', aren't they?
They are. And so this month, as you look around, as you're driving around, you're seeing all those beautiful daffodils. There's a lot of different varieties, you know. And the purpose of this art contest, which has gone on for many years, is to honor the work that the Daffodil Days Committee does throughout our community to enhance parks and trails here. You know, they are moving those bulbs around. They're adding bulbs every year so that they'll grow and be lovely for us. So we're trying to get the kids to focus on that. Who is eligible?
Yeah.
Any Faulkner County student, homeschooled or in a public school or private school, kindergarten through 12th grade. Those have to be turned in by April 1st.
Okay.
And it's very wide. They can paint it, they can photograph it, they can draw it, they can write about it. It's all in the magazine on page 9, or you can look at it at 501lifemag.com and see that, the contest rules. And you may want to check with their art teacher and see if they already know about it. Maybe working on something at school, but even if they're not, we would love to have their entry. And we have like 200 to 250 entries, I believe, a year.
That's
and
fantastic.
So we judge those based on different age categories, of course.
Yeah, well, they're beautiful flowers anyway, and so to see the art that's created around them. Pat Larson of Conway creates art on canvases, stained glass, by designing large flower beds, and has written a children's book as well. Tell me about Pat and what they're doing.
This gentleman is so talented, and you've probably noticed his large flower beds if you've driven down Salem.
Okay.
Near the intersection of Prince Street.
Yes.
And when I say a large flower bed, I'm talking about more than 2,000 daylilies in one bed. So I was driving by last year, and my mom and I stopped and visited the garden.
Yeah.
And I was just blown away. And you need to read this article because I know that your wife is so special to you. He does all this for his wife, whose name is also Pat. So they are Pat and Pat. Technically Patricia, but she goes by Pat.
All right.
But this gentleman taught at UCA, so he does paint. He does all that stained glass and incorporates much of that out into the garden area. It's a great feature.
During the pandemic, a lot of folks started to grow their own food, finding ways that they do that. Has interest in that continued as we are now 5 years in?
Yes, it has. And the title of that article is It's Hip to Homestead. So it's even been given a name now, homesteading. And so during the pandemic, of course, we know many people could not meet anymore. And so a couple of county extension agents here in Faulkner County started an online program called Grow Your Own Groceries.
Okay.
And also Grow Your Own Garden, and they would offer that by Zoom. They still do. They also offer in-person classes at the county extension office, so people can go and view past shows, but they have to sign up online for that, and then they get an email and they're able to link and do it. It's a neat story because they are still teaching all this month and even into April on Saturdays the Master Gardeners. They meet at their teaching garden out on Siebenmorgen, where the Free Aldenhoven nurseries used to be. And they have a teaching garden there. And so people can look in the magazine, see what times they're there. So let's say you're trying to learn to grow squash or watermelon. You don't know how to do that.
Right.
You can go out there and ask your questions, or go to an online class, or go to an in-person class for free.
I know that you don't create the magazine just for me, but yeah, I to figure out this thing about the dogs, can't grow squash or watermelons, so yeah, those are both perfect. The next story hits very close to home because of who I've worked for 10 years, and proud of what we're doing at Conway Corp. And this next story is about the investment that's being made in water. That's so important, obviously, for everyone, but it's a role that we take very seriously here in Conway.
And you're taking care of 70,000 residents with water. And I was really interested to read that over the next 5 years, you're going to invest $75 million in our water system. And Beth Jimerson brought us this article. And then also, y'all have a 30-year plan.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting to read all that and to think about everything that goes into our water, because we know there have been some cities in America who have not had enough water or had toxic water.
Yeah.
So really appreciate those efforts.
Great story. Beth tells it well. I can attest from that, from being in many meetings with her talking about that. When people think about spring cleaning, which is something that we all need to be thinking about, they also think about spring home improvement projects, and you've got some advice that some experts have given.
We reached out to different experts. So let's say you're starting off, you need advice about what to put on your bridal registry, and then you're going to buy your first home. Did you know that there's a grant out there to help certain people with down payments on their first home?
Oh, no, I did not.
That would have been nice to know, right?
That would have been nice to know. Yes, about 5 houses ago.
So we can tell people about that. Maybe you want to add a fence. Maybe you have natural gas and you have questions about that. Or we're headed into that spring season when we're going to have a lot of storms and we could have power outages. There are whole home generators now, even that you can install. So just lots of different information from experts that I think people will find interesting. We also feature another home in this magazine that's over in Little Rock. It's one that can be rented, and it's a retreat home. So I would just say, whether you have dogs in the home or not, there are so many beautiful photographs in this issue that will inspire you. And when I talked with that interior designer, she recommends that you go shopping in your home. Now, I would think men love this.
That's a great idea.
Okay, so they're saying to ladies, she says, go into different rooms of your home and think, could I move that to another room? Would it be better placed, or just to change things up?
Yeah.
She said you find so many things within your own home that you loved enough to buy once. Maybe just switch it up in that way. But I think people will find a lot of inspiration.
Nice. I have looked through the magazine, and you're right, it's beautiful. It is truly one of your most beautiful that you do, and so it can be picked up now and online at 501lifemag.com.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Stephanie. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thanks.
Hello, Conway. This is Jeff Brooks at Brooks Fine Jewelry. We've noticed throughout the past year, custom jobs seem to start with the advent of the new items on the East Coast and the West Coast and work their way into Conway. Why not come down to Conway today? Let's start some new fads with some of the new metals, like the 24-karat items that we've made for so many people throughout the country. So if there's any design that you'd like to see in 24-karat, please come see our custom designers today, and we'd be happy to make one for you.
Brooks Fine Jewelry, your jewelry makers in downtown Conway.